We're trying to expand globally. Long curly hair and a beard, but he ain't Toby Keith. You might have thought it's beef, but we gon' handle that. Stealing jerseys off of the wall like fuck Jack. Okay, he ran with that, and now he's on the loose. Put a little bit of poison in his Jamba Juice. Go ahead and drink on that, just take another sip. Need an appraisal, shout out to Ron Huffin' Dick. The kids loving this, I know you heard it, son. The purpose is perfect, every person we learn something from. Go ahead and come along, we have a little fun. A few questions, how about 31?
And we are back. Here we go. Round 2. What are we calling this? Brandt Does America?
Brandt Does America.
Brandt Does America. All 50 states. I'm here with my co-host, Tone Gordon. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. You know, another day in beautiful Denver. I'm surviving.
It's nice. I don't know if about Denver because Colorado's so crazy. I'm about like an hour 50.
Yeah, you're about an hour south. Yeah.
It's beautiful outside.
Yeah, it's nice. So it's been a good day. We had a little rain, but we're good. So we're back. We're here for round 2. We made it all the way to New York.
Yep.
We finished New York, or we?
No, we are getting ready to start New York.
We are on to New York. So we're taking 50 questions, one from each state. Sometimes we do a couple bonus questions. I think we might have an extra country or something in here. We'll see. We'll see what Tone has going. I am Brandt Tobler. You're a homesick comedian. Not homesick, just stuck at home during this quarantine. So here comes some more content for you to hopefully help you guys get through the day. Are you ready, Tone? I'm ready for New York if you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. By the way, when you said it, we might have another country. It depends on if you're asking Shire, because one of them might be a state that she thought was a state.
Yeah, my beautiful girlfriend thinks there's 52 states, but you can already tell how beautiful she is if she thinks that. So
you gotta love it. All right, so yeah, we can start right at New York.
Let's do it. Fire away. I'm ready for New York. I'm a big fan of New York.
Sweet. We got one person who asked a question from New York, but it's 4 questions. So
okay, we're
gonna go with it. So we'll start with one. From Jennifer Ferroli.
Jennifer. Oh yeah, this is shout out to Jen. She helped me with my book. She was the editor of my book Free Roll.
Did I pronounce that last name right?
Yeah, sure. I know her as Jen Lex, but her name is now Jen. I think it's Ferroli. I don't know, but she's the best.
Sounds. Yeah, well, I mean, it looks like it sounded, so we'll go with it.
All right.
First question: what's the most repulsive thing you have ever drunk?
What's the most repulsive?
Repulsive, yeah, like this.
Ooh. Man, I don't know. I mean, I drank a lot of Mad Dog 2020, but that's actually good. You know what? We do a shot here in Denver with a scorpion in it, where you take the scorpion. It's like pickle juice with a scorpion, and then and you can either chew it or just swallow it. But it's really not that bad. The most repulsive I would say is, man, I don't know. Probably just whiskey. I mean, the first time I had like Jack Daniels, I'm not a whiskey guy, so cheap whiskey. I drank this thing called Carstairs. I guess it's not a thing, but I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's a whiskey. That's the first thing I ever drank. I didn't drink in high school. It was like my last week of my senior year. And I was drinking shot for shot with my boys that drink all the time, trying to be like tough guy. So I think the story was I had like 10 or 11, but now in hindsight, I bet I had like 4 or 5. And I remember just sitting in this chair at my buddy Matt Cox's house thinking, oh, this ain't shit. And I stood up and took like 3 steps and I just fell right on my face. And then I went and I puked and I hadn't ate anything that day, but some Starburst. And I went and I puked up just big old chicken chunks. I think it might have been my intestines or something. And I didn't know how to puke because I'd never drank before. So I sat on the toilet and puked into the bathtub like a real idiot. So then I had to clean that up later instead of sitting on the bathtub, puking in the toilet and just flushing it. And then my buddy had a party that night. So I had to get my shit together to call my parents and tell them, ask if I could spend the night, I was like graduating, so they didn't care. But then I just laid in my buddy's parents' bed that whole night because I was so drunk. And then everybody came and messed with me because they'd never seen me drunk before. So it was a torture. So yeah, I'd say Carstairs whiskey, who luckily is not a sponsor of the show. It was, if I even smell that shit now, I'll almost puke. So yeah, I would say Carstairs is probably the worst.
I was gonna say I've had some bad ones. My first drinking story was a lot like that too. Like
what were you drinking?
So it was it was vodka. It was Aristocrat vodka.
Uh-huh.
But I never drank in high school. I drank my first week of college. I lived on the second floor of like a townhouse.
Uh-huh.
I had a roommate. We were on the baseball team, and a bunch of the baseball people came over. We had just met them like that week. It was like the end of the first week, and everyone was getting drunk. And I'd never drank before, and I was like, you know what? Now's a good time to start. I live in my own house basically. We're gonna have fun. I took 18 shots and drank 4 beers, and I ended up waking up in a pool of my own vomit at the bottom of those steps that lead into our house.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if I fell down the steps or what, but
nothing like that puke pillow to wake up in. Oh, yeah. That hurts my body just talking about that shit.
Yeah. I'm too old for that stuff now.
What else does she got for us?
All right. So second, have you ever had a crush on a teacher? And if so, what about them was so enticing?
Ooh, yeah, I had a crush on a couple teachers when I was in school and a couple crushes when I was out of school. Yeah. It was actually a lot easier to hook up with the teachers after school. But I don't know. I think just the fact that you're not supposed to do it, I have a problem with that. Like, I've unfortunately had sex with a couple married women that I probably shouldn't have, but I definitely should have, I guess. But that's a story for another time. But I think I was just intrigued by the adventure of it. That if you tell me I can't do something, it just makes me want to do it, which makes me a douche sometimes. But I had a crush on a couple teachers, and the crazy thing is, later in life, I think I really had a chance with I probably could have hooked up with maybe 1 or 2 of the teachers I had a crush on in high school, but it didn't happen because of alcohol. Alcohol is why it almost happened, and alcohol is why it didn't happen. But yeah, I think and just being a kid, and I was a late bloomer, so I wasn't even into girls. So I was like in high school, 9th grade. So I think just the idea of a grown woman hooking up with me is what got me going.
Little Mary Kayla Turner.
I love teachers. I still to this day. I've dated a lot of teachers. They're amazing, amazing people. They deserve more money, but that's just pandering. So go ahead. What's the next question?
All right. Number 3 is, what was your most embarrassing screw up at work?
My mom. The thing is, I haven't had a lot of jobs, so it's hard. As a comedian, I just bombed. I never really screwed up. I mean, simple shit like, as a comedian, the most I screwed up is like missing shows or showing up late when you think the show's going to start at 8 and then it's 7:30, and so like just completely missing shows is the only way you can really screw up as a comedian. As a comedian, I've screwed up on accident. If I go to a town and something bad's happened, I don't know the recent news, so I've said stuff on stage not knowing that something tragic happened. So like that would be stuff like that. I mean, obviously when I worked at Dillard's and I stole everything, and that wasn't really a screw up. That was a good move. So really I screwed some businesses by being a bad employee, stealing all their stuff and giving it away to my friends.
Well, I was gonna say
screwing up at work, I would just say just stupid comedy stuff, because I haven't had a job in over 23 years, a real job. So when I screwed up when I was a runner for professional gamblers, if I screwed up, that was bad. If that was big trouble, bad, because if I bet the game the wrong way, let's say if I said the Nuggets are playing the Spurs and I said the Nuggets, but these dumbass ticket writers put in the wrong thing. But as a runner, you're trying to run around and get as many bets as you can or beat the other runners. So if I didn't pay attention, those were some costly mistakes where I bet the wrong side. And then of course that side won, and then it screwed me. I never got lucky enough to bet like 5,000
on the wrong team,
on the wrong side, and then have that win. And then that would have been, a huge, depending on who I worked for, I'd either told him and the boss would have been really happy, or that would have been like a $10,000 swing. But the comedy god,
free roll. Yeah.
Yeah. That is a free roll. The gambling gods are brutal like that. So rarely did they print it the wrong way, and I actually won. But yeah, those are pretty bad screw ups, actually.
Man, that's crazy.
One time when I worked at a pizza parlor, my first job, I remember they had like a dough machine that spun the dough, and I don't know what I did wrong. I'm an idiot, and it spun dough all over. Okay. Like the dough was on way too high or something, and I wasn't paying attention. I turned around and dough went all over the pizza
Everywhere,
parlor. So I had to clean the pizza. That was a pretty big screw up. So
Damn.
I'm a
Well,
shitty employee. Nobody will ever hire
I was
me.
going to say that might lead to the number 4. The last one is, what is the most moronic mistake you've ever made?
The most moron.
While I crack open my Diet Dr. Pepper, since I'm keto now again.
Yeah. Oh, that's my mistake is going gluten free, but that was my body choice. What was the most moronic mistake?
Most moronic mistake.
I mean, it's daily. Let me think. The first thing off the top of my head is like, I've done some bad. I'll tell you, the first thing that popped in my head is one time when I lived in LA, I went to I went to this guy's house. He had a Ferrari in the garage, and he let me sit in it. He's like, "You want to sit in it?" I was like, "Yeah," but I don't know how to drive stick. I'm a moron. So he let me start it up. He's like, "You start it up," but I think he just assumed I wasn't a moron. And then I started up this Ferrari, and he was having it was a party for a show that aired for the first time. It was like a premiere party. So there's all these people outside the garage, and I didn't know what I was doing or how to drive a stick and put my foot on whatever. So I turned on this guy's Ferrari, and you know how it stall jumped and ran into his garage wall, and all the people were on the other side of the wall. And I felt like a pretty big moron wrecking this dude's Ferrari into the wall. But yeah, that was. We could have a 20-hour podcast of all the dumb shit I've done. But for some reason, that was the first one that stuck in my head.
I mean, wrecking a Ferrari is pretty.
Yeah, where I was really embarrassed. You know I felt like a real moron. So that would be it. Those are good questions, Jen.
That was all. Yeah, that was super legit. So we're on to North Carolina.
North Carolina, come on and raise up.
Take your shirt off.
Love Carolina.
Carolina's great. So this one's gonna be a good one. So at Zombie Bears 6 on Twitter asks, "What is a conspiracy that you would like to start?"
Well, I'd like to start.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Or accentuate, I guess maybe.
But I have a huge dick. A conspiracy I'd like to start. Wow. I don't even know, man. Conspiracy I'd like to start.
There's some crazy ones out there. Denver's littered with.
Yeah, Denver has some weird conspiracies here. Like, I don't know. I would like, it's a moronic. I would like to start a conspiracy. I would start this is how much I love my hometown of Cheyenne, Wyoming. I would start a conspiracy in Cheyenne to just bring traffic there and make them money. So like an alien landing or something to help my city that I love is the first thing that come to my head is like, so I'd make up something like, that there's something important in Cheyenne, Wyoming that people need to go to try to help my friend's economy. As cheesy an answer that is, that's the first thing I thought of, but I don't know what it would be like. I don't know, maybe probably something like ghost in a hotel or I don't know. That's a great question. I'd have to think about it.
Do you have a favorite conspiracy?
My favorite one is that Michael Jordan got suspended from the NBA. And I really believe that he was gambling but part of a conspiracy theory is I don't believe him anymore because it's too hard to lie. There's just too much evidence. I used to be I was an incredible liar before all this technology. It's so hard to lie right now. You can't slip up. When I used to lie, people couldn't just record me on their phones. They didn't even have a phone. They didn't have a camera. I would just lie. And then people would say, "Oh, he's lying." I'd say that person's crazy. And then they'd go, "Well, maybe," but now it's like, you can't even lie anymore. It's just like, "Oh, here's the evidence." So I don't know I do think Michael Jordan got suspended for a year and a half. It's so weird to me that he came back a year and a half to the day. It's weird that if I owned the team, he wouldn't come back on a road game. That's for sure.
For real,
like
right?
That, just money wise stuff like that. But that's and then I believe there's aliens and ghosts. And I don't know.
What team did Michael Jordan come back against? The Pacers.
Pacers, yeah.
I thought.
But if I owned a business, I mean that's the biggest game. That's one of the biggest games of my lifetime. You want to have that game at home, but so I still think something shady happened because he's the best basketball player in the world. You don't just quit. I mean, and then, so who knows? But I got to create a conspiracy. I like that.
Create a conspiracy. I was gonna say Denver. I know for a lot because I used to fly a lot or go to the airport a lot. That Denver airport's like notorious conspiracy city.
Yeah, if you never went down that deep dive, get on YouTube and I think it's the Illuminati runs the underground city at the DIA. I don't know. I should go try to figure it out now.
Have you ever seen the mural there? The murals?
Yeah. I saw the mural and
creepy as all get out.
You know, a lot of comics ask about that when they come into town. They're like, I go, I don't know. The horse is crazy, the mural.
Well, I think it's like part of me is like, I think there's like I wonder if they tried to make it like that because like there's like a weird like time capsule thing in there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Got like the weird like Freemason logo and stuff, and there's like other New World organization stuff. Like
yeah,
I'm like, did somebody try to make that funny or?
I've heard the rumors I should throw on a GoPro and just go around, see how much trouble I can get in at the airport. But that shit's probably federal. No, that's probably a bad idea.
Yeah. Probably, don't do that.
Yeah, never mind.
We'll be the next theme of our podcast.
Yeah,
will be
I'll have an answer for the most moronic thing I've ever done.
31 locked up. Yeah, it would be great. All right. Well, that was a good one from North Carolina. We're gonna move on to North Dakota.
Dakota.
Movie title that best describes your life currently.
Movie title that best describes my life. Just miserable.
Misery.
Misery with no company would be my. I don't know. I mean, I don't. That's a tough question during this quarantine because I'm just bored. This is day 63 of being stuck at home. This is day 64 of no performing, being stuck at home. So I'm trying to keep it positive, but my movie title would be something like Misery or Get This Shit Over With. I don't know if that's This Shit Sucks. I don't know what kind of movie that is. It might be an adult film, but I would say I'm sure there's a XXX movie called This Shit Sucks. But,
for sure.
But I wouldn't watch it.
Well, that was a pretty good one. So
it was a good one. I wish I had a better answer.
Ohio.
OHIO.
That's right. And it's from my dude, Big Dog Bigley, Mr. Brandon on Twitter. And he asked, and I just recently turned him on to your podcast. So he asked, is Dave Chappelle the funniest man alive / ever alive?
You know, that's a tough question. I mean, that's a tough question. I would say this is another generic answer, but it really just depends on the night. Like I've seen Chappelle obviously crush, but is he the most consistent funniest man alive? I mean, I guess there's people close, but if you ask me, I like old Chris Rock. I thought old Chris Rock was really good. I think it's hard for these guys to continue to be funny when they get so famous. But I would say Chappelle, this last time Chappelle came through, I liked the way he pushes boundaries I mean, I guess I can't beat it. So I guess if you don't have an answer to beat it, then that's the winner. But yeah, I don't know if he's the funniest ever. I mean, probably is. I mean, I think this is the best time of comedy. So yeah.
Is he Mount Rushmore at least?
Oh, Chappelle?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably the king. I mean, I can't really. I wasn't a big like Bill Hicks guy or Kennison or like. I mean, they're good, but I think what Chappelle did. Like, I love Hedberg's my favorite, but I can't put him ahead of Chappelle, especially just the catalog of what Chappelle's done. So, I don't think I think Chappelle's the best. I mean, I'll tell you this: he's the coolest too. I'm a little biased because I've seen the way he's treated me and the way he treats the staff and the way he's just awesome. So if there's even a tie, pretty much every big comedian's like that, but if there's even close to a tie, the way that he's treated me and the staff at Comedy Works makes him an easy choice. That's a good tiebreaker.
Heck yeah. So then I guess we're on to Oklahoma.
Boomer Sooner.
Yeah. A lot of quarterback you? No.
Yeah, they think so. Shitty quarterback.
Well, they've won a lot of Heismans. They got just
that is true.
It's ridiculous. All right, so from @RealRins on Twitter, you can see one live show, comedy or music. Pick a headliner, opener, a live or dead. Who do you see? You can only do one or the other though.
Oh, music or comedy?
Music, live show or comedy. So I guess.
I take music for sure. I mean, I love comedy, but music is just another.
Who would be your headliner and who would be your opener?
My opener would be what a weird show this would be. I get to see 3 bands like festival style.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll do it in what in comedy terms. What you got a
Yeah.
feature and headliner?
Then I would just go off the top of my head. The 3 best shows I've ever seen are, I don't know how, this is such a weird order to do this, but I would go Kanye would be the first one. Then I would go Garth Brooks. And then I would close with Rage Against the Machine.
That'd be an interesting concert.
It's just a weird show, but I think obviously Garth and Kanye are probably better than Rage, but you can't really follow Rage. I remember leaving. The way I felt leaving Rage concerts is just incredible. It's the same way I feel leaving Kanye and Garth. And I've been fortunate enough to go to so many concerts, but off the top of my head, those ones were, if I did a genre one, I would do like Rage, Metallica. I don't know. I mean, my favorite band's The Killers, but they'd have to open for those two. Or in rap, I would go like Kanye, Eminem. I guess I'd have Eminem close. Kanye, Dre, Eminem, maybe. I don't know. That's a hard one. And comedy wise, it would probably be Chappelle. Attell, Chappelle, and me.
Attell, Chappelle, and Brandt.
Yeah, me, Attell, Chappelle would be that'd be a dream.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I was thinking of because I love music as well. Like, what's the like when you get those weird like crossover like collaborations? Like, could you imagine like Kanye coming out with like Garth Brooks?
Yeah,
Friends in Low Places would be dope.
Yeezys in Low Places. Well, I had a night like that in Milwaukee. I went to Milwaukee for this festival, and back then, at the time, my favorite band was the Counting Crows. But then my girlfriend and my girlfriend at the time, we loved Keith Urban, and for some reason, Counting Crows was opening for Keith Urban, and then we left that show, and then Talib Kweli was at another part of the little festival area was going off. So that was like 3 different genres that were all different, but they all put on incredible shows. So that wouldn't be my top answer, but it was kind of like that.
It's always
crazy. I like festivals. You can see everything like that.
For sure. It's always crazy too. Like when like, so they don't really have them. I guess they do have them slightly, but in Virginia Beach, where I was like a teenager for the most part, they had like an amphitheater, outdoor amphitheater, and you'd get some weird lineups, and you'd see some bands that were like new that like opened up for bands that should have never opened up for like a year later. You're like, so No Doubt, like when they were cool, No Doubt was the headliner, and then they opened, or they had the band Lit, and then opening for them was the Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was like, what? Now looking back, you're like, that would.
That was probably a fun day though.
It was a pretty good one.
Yeah, I'd go see that.
Yeah, I saw a lot of weird concerts. All right, so that was a good one. All right, Oregon. We have 2 from Oregon.
All right.
So I'll start with Ashley McCormick.
Ashley.
She's got a 2-parter question. First part, who is the performer you'd most like to work with? Second part, without naming names, who is the performer you disliked working with the most? I guess so. I guess why you disliked it.
Let's see. Who I'd want to work with the most?
Yeah.
Oh man. I guess I'm trying to think. I've been fortunate enough to. Well, I didn't get to open for Chappelle. Like I just got to hang out with Chappelle, which was cool. But who I want to open for the most would probably be. I mean, Dave Attell was big for me. To get open for Attell was huge. Honestly, it would be Rogan, probably.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I'd like to open for Rogan.
Did that happen on your side? I don't have. Are you back?
I'm back.
Okay, that just got real weird. By the way, I hope that recorded the whole thing.
What happened?
Did you hear it on your side?
No, what was it?
You said I'd like to. You said Rogan would be cool, and it literally went Rogan. It like skipped like.
Yeah. So
audio actually. So.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll hold. So to re-answer, I don't know what you guys heard, but I'd like to open for Joe Rogan for sure, and I've been fortunate enough to see Joe crush, and I used to do these backyard shows in Vegas when I started, and I had Stanhope, and then Rogan and Ari happened to be in town, I think at the House of Blues, and there was a rumor that they were going to come to the Stanhope show, but then they didn't show up because the show was sold out. And I remember, I think it was Stanhope's like, "Hey, do you care if Joe and Ari come?" I was like, "Of course not." That, you know, and then later, I think I talked to Joe a little bit about that. I did the backyard shows, and I'd love to have him, and he was super cool. He was way too famous to do the backyard show, but I think if he wasn't, he would have done it. Him and Ari were really cool to me about just that I was doing it. So that was always cool. I was
like the ambition of it all, right? Like,
yeah. And just to have Stanhope attached, Stanhope gave it validity. And so, yeah, if I could open for anybody, and like I said, I've been fortunate enough to open for most of my heroes, but Joe or Bill Burr would be very special.
Well, that's sweet. Those are pretty good ones. And then without naming names, what performer did you dislike working with the most?
So shit, I'll name names if you want. I don't care. I'll tell you who I almost got in big trouble. I didn't get to open for Chris Tucker, but I went to watch him, and the way he treated the staff was awful. But not awful. He just didn't acknowledge them. Like, I shouldn't say awful, but it's like, but he had so much security and stuff, and which I get, whatever, if you want to be that dude. But the thing is, Chappelle doesn't have any security.
Yeah.
So if Chappelle doesn't have security, Chris Tucker didn't need all this security. And then what I hated was Chris Tucker. So like between shows, I'm standing at the bar with like 2 bartenders or whatever. No one else is around. So he'd come by and go to the bathroom and stuff. In that moment, all I had to do is say, "Hey, what's up? Thanks, guys." Or "How's it going, guys?" You know, like, I just am really big on acknowledging the staff. I just hate that. So I got way too drunk, and then I tweeted something at him. Thank God the staff told me to take it down, but I was like, "Why are you being such a douche?" So I just didn't like that. Then I opened for this girl comic, and she sucked. And I just hate. There's so many, like, when I started comedy, I thought women weren't funny. I was so wrong. I got buried. But I mean, like, Tig Notaro came to my house. She was incredible, and obviously she's one of the best. But I hate. So they brought in this woman headliner, and she sucked. She was bombing. But then when I was on stage, I did a joke about my brother being retarded, and then she was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I can't believe he talks like this. How does he even sleep at night?" And then I said something about having a girlfriend, and then she turned to the host and was like he really has a girlfriend. And luckily the host is my boy. He's like, "It's actually that really hot blonde girl sitting right on stage." And then at the end, I did a dick joke, and then she was like, "I can't believe he would do that in front of a female opener," which is my biggest complaint, because these female comics say, "Don't call us female. We're just headliners," you know, which I agree. You know, all the like great Amy Schumer, Nikki Glaser, all these guys are great, but they don't want to be called, "Here comes your female comic." So I thought that was so weak that she was like, first of all, if you're a headliner, you get all the money. Don't complain about who's in front of you ever. You know, I was getting $50. That bitch was getting like 5,000.
Yeah.
Just shut the fuck up. If I do a dick joke in front of you, whatever, it does good anyway. Like, yeah. I used to care about that shit. So just shit like that is like, or another comic came in, she had all these rules like about I just don't. The problem is the best comics are just the coolest. So anyone that's like high maintenance, I just think they just suck. Because like I said, Chappelle and Attell and these guys come in, they just couldn't be sweeter and cooler, and they understand that we're a fraternity, you know. And I mean, Nikki Glaser, all the best comics are chill.
Yeah.
Segura couldn't be nicer. Nate Bargatze, Mark Norman, all these guys are cool. It's these other ones that aren't even that good that come in. You don't even sell enough tickets, and then we bury you, you know, because the Denver comedy scene's good. You got to bring your A game. Yeah. So sometimes what happens is a lot of times they'll bring in a comics attached to a big comic. So let's say like I'm famous and you're like an up and coming comic. To get me, they got to take both of us. So that happens at Comedy Works sometimes, and then we get. But my biggest complaint is like, and I know it's harder for girls than this, but then like, you can't play both sides of the fence. You can't be there's no gender when it works for you, but then when you want to play the victim card, then you go back to being, well, we're girl comics. Like, you're the first ones to tell us not to call you girl comics. So that one stuck with me. Then this girl, she ate it. She'll never come back, but which is great. and I didn't try to. You don't try to bury people. People are like, you ever try to bury her? I was like, no, you have to do your best in Denver because all the comics are so good. So I don't know if she thought I was trying to. I don't know, but again, if you crush in front of me, then I just got to get better. I'll never be mad at the feature can do. Sometimes headliners will be like, hey, what are you talking about? Don't talk about this or that. I never do that.
Yeah.
If you do a bit that's similar to mine, I just have to take it out because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm the headliner. That's why I get paid the most. So yeah, there are a couple stuff like that. But the only time like I've said a billion times, they always say you don't want to meet your heroes. That is not stand-up comedy. The people that I don't want to work with, if I told you, you would be like, you'd have to Google them for a half an hour to find them. So it's not even good gossip.
Dang. Well, that was a perfect answer.
All right.
And then we have one more sort of from Oregon. So my dude, Jared Emmons, we call him Gems. He is from Indiana, but he lost his appendix in Oregon. So
okay.
His appendix is asking you, what's your favorite organ?
What's my favorite organ?
So
I love the creativity. My favorite organ is I get my heart. I guess my heart is my favorite organ. I worry about it.
That makes sense.
I worry about it. But yeah, my heart. I think I have a big heart. I try to be a good dude, and I worry about my heart. I don't want to jinx it, but it scares me sometimes. But yeah, that's a good thing. Thank you for the appendix question. That's great. I love the creativity.
Moving on to Pennsylvania.
I've never been to Pennsylvania. I really want to go.
Oh, really? You've never been to Pennsylvania?
No, Pittsburgh or Philly are high up on my list.
I've been through, dude, Lancaster is like, I saw a couple shows there.
Really?
Amish country.
Yeah, I got to go. I've always wanted to go to Philly. I guess Pittsburgh too, but I want to go to Philly, except for it'll suck now since I'm gluten-free. A cheesesteak. I'd just say fuck it and eat it. So whatever.
You might as well just go for it. Yeah.
Whatever. Shit mod for a while.
All right, so from Pennsylvania, we got, if you could know the absolute and total truth to one question, what would the question you would ask be?
It's so weird that being a broke comic your whole life, my mindset just immediately went to like, what if I had the answer to would I get paid? So
I mean, that makes sense.
I mean, as stupid as it is, if I could have the answer to any question, it would be, what are the Mega Million numbers this week? Like, I don't know, like question to, I guess I should be more profound or something, but I mean, I don't, if I could, any question, like, I guess it'd just be like a cheesy answer, like who really killed JFK, or are there aliens, or I think Trump will eventually tell us all that anyway, so I shouldn't waste it on that.
Right. That's true. That probably will come out eventually.
It'd probably be like, I'd probably go back in my early 20s and there's a couple girls. I'd be like, hey, did I have any shot at fucking you or not? Just tell. Even though I don't think I'd want to know that answer, but.
Oh, I saw that somebody like years ago. What? I don't know.
You're getting a question.
Go. It's upstairs. Literally, my daughter's like, "Where's the Paw Patrol ship?"
That was my question too.
Like, where's the alien ship? I can just like hop off. No. So I was gonna say I saw something. It was like what if you had like a ticker for your entire life, like sports tracker, and it was like how many times were you like one move away from like sleeping with a girl, and it was like, or like there was like all these like things that like you're like, damn, that would be interesting to know. Like,
yeah. There's a few I'd be like, did I read this wrong or did I read this really wrong? But
I mean, you never know, right?
You never know, and I'll never know probably.
All right, we're moving on to Rhode Island.
All right,
Rhode Island. We got. What do you like the most about your dad?
What do I like the most about my dad? For those of you who don't know, I have the worst dad in the world. I haven't spoke to him in 23 years, and I try to kill him. So if you're watching this, just go to YouTube, Brandt Tobler, try to kill my dad. The what I like the most about my dad is that he doesn't try to reach out or find me, or that wherever he is, he hasn't tried to contact me or be a part of my life. So
That's a
I
good
hope
one.
I hope that continues. So that's what I like about his lack of
Communication.
his lack of desire to be a father is probably what I like the most about him. I hated it as a kid, but now as an adult, his lack of wanting to be a part of my life, I couldn't ask for more.
See, that's how you spin it. You spin it. You like his consistency.
Yeah. Yeah, the consistency in not wanting to be a part of my life is what I really can appreciate.
He's like the Cal Ripken of being a bad dad.
Yeah, he's consistently been not around. So
He never showed up.
I appreciate that.
Well, got a good one out of that one.
Yeah, it was a great question.
Oh man, on to South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Time for the other Carolina. All right, so from Murdoch Jones, we got, why do people from Wyoming call us rabbit chokers?
I have no idea.
It said this, and then in parentheses it said Chauncey Williams themed.
Oh, Chauncey Williams. Chancey Williams, he's country band from Wyoming. I don't know. I'll have to ask Chancey why they call you rabbit chokers. I don't know. Is that a jerk off reference?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to do a little research in the Wyoming slang dictionary. But shout out to Chancey Williams, brand new album coming out. Go check them out.
Nice. All right. Well.
All right, South Carolina. Sorry, I'm gonna have to figure that out. I'm gonna have to ask Chancey next time we see him.
See, now you're gonna end up with questions.
Yeah.
All right. So we got Tennessee. We're gonna have Dirty Randy 95.
All right.
Mary Fuck Kill. Hillary Clinton. Roseanne Barr, Paula Dean.
I would marry. Wait, who is it?
Hillary Clinton, Roseanne Barr, Paula Dean.
I would fuck Roseanne Barr for the story and comedy. I got to show I can't kill a fellow comedian. And I would marry Hillary because she probably has the most money. And I think Bill Clinton's pretty cool. I'd like to hang out with him and Chelsea. And then I guess I'd kill Paula Dean.
Yeah, I mean, sounds
yeah, good. I got love for Roseanne. I think that'd be a good story.
I mean, that would be interesting. Yeah. Fair enough. I think you might get an interesting story from that Hillary Clinton marriage.
Wow, that's true too.
A couple of them. All right. Well, we're moving on to Texas.
Texas. Everything's bigger. Let's see if these questions are any good.
Well, I'm hoping that this one creates a good story because it's from Mr. Brian Moot.
Oh, Moot, my old roommate in LA. We lived together in LA for like 7-8 years.
At Moot Points on Twitter. Also 31 guest.
Yes, 31 been podcast. A guest. Good, one of my closest friends. Good dude. He's a radio DJ down in Dallas now.
Oh, is he for real?
Yeah, well, he's doing good.
That's awesome. Well, he asked what your wildest strip club story is. The people of Texas want to know.
My wildest strip club story. You know, it's going to be lame. I don't really have any great strip club stories. So I only really go to one strip club, and it's the one in my hometown called the Green Door, which even Bill Burr, like when he was in town, he went there, and I think he just went to the drive-thru and talked about it on his podcast. But it's a legendary. Yeah, they have drive-thru liquor, but then they have a stage about as big as a picnic table, and then they have they don't have a pole, they have a bar, like a towel rack bar that you would have on but it's hanging from the ceiling. But it could hold a fucking rhinoceros. It's incredible. And the girls had to put their own change in the jukebox before they go up, and then they bring their own Windex and clean the mirrors. So the craziest, what do you say? The craziest time in a strip club?
Wildest strip club story.
Man,
craziest would work too, I guess.
We used to do shows in strip clubs in Vegas, but nothing really happened. One time my buddy got in a fight for throwing quarters on the stage, but he was being a douche. He deserved to get punched for that. I think he actually won the fight, but I was like, I'm trying to think. I dated a stripper. The first time I ever made a sex tape is with a stripper. I still have it on a big VHS tape. Jeez. But I was such a douche in it because I was trying to be funny. I think it was like kind of when I just started comedy, but Yeah,
Force
unfortunately, I don't have
energy.
any. I don't have any good. I don't really like strip clubs because when I had enough money to go to strip club, I would just get hookers or go to massage parlors. And now as a broke comedian, I can't. I anytime I have to go to a strip club, I'm like, let me get out of here because I can't waste $400 or $500 to. And now I have a girlfriend, but even when I was single, I was like, I'll tell you one funny thing happened is I took a girl to a strip club and she'd never been to a strip club. And so she's like to that shitty one in Cheyenne, and she's like, "How does this work?" And I gave her $20. I said, "Put it in your mouth, and go up to the stage. Let the girl just rub her boobs in your face." And this girl, she's a very sweet, nice girl. She went up to the stage, and then she just handed the $20 to the stripper as she was bending down, picking up all her money at the end of her song, and she was like, "Hey, you could do anything with your life." And I was like, "Oh my God, you can't be giving TED Talks to." I was like, "You're lucky that bitch didn't punch you in the face. They don't want to be motivated." So that was pretty crazy. I knew she was coming from a good place and she was trying to be sweet, but I was like, "Oh, you just that's even worse. They don't want the $20 if you're going to talk to them like their mom." So that was pretty crazy. But
That makes sense.
if you're ever in Cheyenne, Wyoming, go to the Green Door, and I'm proud of Wyoming. They made national news yesterday. They're the first strip club to open back up.
Oh, sweet.
In America during this quarantine. So
well, hey,
shout out to Cheyenne. That's my fucking city.
That's crazy. I was gonna ask because wasn't your "This Is Not Happening" filmed?
Yeah. So that was cool. One time I went to a strip club with my buddy who's pretty famous and he's super hot, and they and we just went there to scope out where they were shooting it, and they and these girls just kept coming over and bothering us when we weren't even trying to talk to girls. We were just there waiting for someone else. And then we were like, "Oh, this is what it feels like to be a stripper," the opposite. And it was more, they were coming to talk to him, but I always thought that was funny. We are like, "God, leave us alone." Or actually it was just what it was like to be a hot chick. But yeah, the filming my "This Is Not Happening" in that strip club is definitely the best strip club moment. And the craziest, because it's crazy to me. When I tried to kill my dad, I never thought one day it would get me on Comedy Central. So that's pretty crazy.
With millions of views.
Yeah, with almost 4 million views. So go watch it.
Yeah, share it with a friend.
Yeah.
And then tell them about the podcast. All right, so we'll move on to the second question from Texas. What is the most amount of tacos you can eat in a single setting, Mr. at Robert Tantones?
Robert. Ooh, I would say, well, because of my stupid gluten. Well, I guess we have gluten-free tacos here, the soft shells. But at the height of a hungriness, my Taco Bell, Taco John's days, I could probably get 6 or 7. I'm not a huge eater. I'm more of a drinker than an eater.
I would have thought higher.
Yeah, if I had to, I don't. One time when I was on Barstool Idol, and I was trying to get a job at Barstool, and they were filming a reality show. And one of the things they had us do is drink a beer and eat a hot dog every inning for a baseball game.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could do this. It's just a hot dog. And then obviously I had no problem with the beer. It could have gone extra innings, but I think the 6th inning, I was like, I can't even put one more down. So I'm not a big, huge eater. So I'd say 6. 6 is what I could eat if I was super hungry. If I needed to do 8 to save your life, I could. If I needed to do more than that, you're probably goner. I'm sorry.
I was thinking as you were saying the hot dog thing, I was like, you also have a gluten allergy, so those buns probably were messing you up.
Yeah, you know what? Looking back on it, at the time I didn't know I had a gluten allergy. So that's, I would have probably won that challenge. I probably would have worked for Barstool. My whole life would be different, but
damn gluten allergies, man. Oh man, it's terrible. That I was gonna say I've taken down an entire taco box at Taco Bell before. So
yeah. My girlfriend, when we go, she orders the box with 10, but then she just puts them in the freezer and eats them for 10 weeks. But
I mean, whatever works, right?
Whatever. It's her life.
We got one more from Texas. It's
all right.
At CountryJ72 on Twitter. And he wants you to name someone in your life that really helped you and why.
You. Tone Gordon helped me. You have reached out and helped me with everything, with my podcast, with all our visual stuff, doing stuff like this. So I would say no one has helped me in a long time like you just were so sweet and came into my life and have helped me more than anybody's helped me stand-up wise for sure, and believed in me. And so, as weird as it is, I'm sure you didn't see this answer coming, but you have and you've helped me on these fucking tough days that we're going through. You're a good cheerleader, and so I would say you.
Well, man, I appreciate that. I was thinking, I was actually thinking, I didn't, not this question, I didn't read that far ahead to think about the question, but I was actually thinking about it the other day. I was like, because it's, I guess like it's been a couple of months now since we basically talk almost every day.
Yeah.
Often. But I saw you like a year ago at Looney's, and I literally didn't even come over after the show to talk to you because you were like talking to somebody about like, I think they were trying to buy a book or something, and I didn't want to bother you. And I was like, it's so funny thinking back. I was like, now I talk to you every day. So
yeah.
Like,
yeah, man, you've been a huge help. And then before you, a guy named Keith in Vegas helped me, he's changed my life. And then a lot of people helped me, my Wyoming friends, a whole state has helped me. I could, now that I start thinking about it, I mean, this job is so fucking weird and you can't do it without the help of, I'm lucky to come from Wyoming where everybody just rallies together. So honestly, I have a whole state that through good times and bad, I know I can, anytime I've needed them. I mean, I could tell you 500 people that have stepped up and through this quarantine, I've had so many people just send me money. Just like, hey man, I know you can't do shows. I'm rooting for you. Just out of I'm talking like $500. A couple, 2 or 3 times, people have sent me $500. I just look at my Venmo like, what happened? And they're just like, hey man, I'm rooting for you. I love what you're doing. And I'm just like, so. I mean, if I ever win an award, the thank yous and the tears will be a lot because there takes so much luck in this business, and then so much. You just need. It's really a team. It's not that bullshit team they talk about in Hollywood, your agents, managers, they're fucking worthless. And your real team are the people that, help you book shows, let you sleep on their couch, throw you $100 when you need to pay a phone bill. Okay. That's I've had so many of those people that help me. Sometimes they didn't even know they're helping me. So I'm lucky. I'm very lucky that's why I always rave about Wyoming, and I'm so loyal to the people that I am because they changed my life. Well, so yeah. So thank you, Tone. As weird as that is, between me and you and a weird question, but thank you. You've done more for me than you probably ever. You keep me motivated, which is a hard thing to do. So thank you, buddy.
Well, thank you for letting me be a part of this journey.
Yeah, of course.
So that way when you do get big, we're gonna have a big old party.
Yes, we will.
Celebrate the big times. We'll play some Drake, started from the bottom.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was a great question from the last question from Texas.
Good job, Texas.
Texas came through good. We got a couple from Utah.
Spent a lot of time there. I'd go back and forth if I like it or not, but let's see what these questions are.
Depending on the
night, depending on their whatever weird rules they have.
Weird rules. All right. So we got a quick one. Which movie is better, Goodfellas or Casino?
Casino.
All right. Easy.
But I got Vegas bias.
I got Vegas bias. All right. The next one is, and these are all from RDYKHU.
Oh, that's my boy Rick.
Because I have no clue how to pronounce that, so I had to spell it.
Yeah.
All these are from him. So, what's the next event you want to sneak into, and how do you plan on doing it?
Anything. Just give me an event. I just want an option to sneak into something. But it would probably be, I don't know. I mean, the Super Bowl is the only thing I've ever. That's the big one I haven't snuck into. But I just think it's doable. People do it, but it's such a. There's just so many checkpoints. So the thing I'd like to sneak in the most would be like here at Red Rocks.
That'd be cool.
I could sneak into Red Rocks, but I'd like to sneak backstage to. I'm over kind of sneaking in events. I kind of want to sneak because it's. I mean, not to sound cocky, it's too easy now to sneak in. Now I want to really push it and be like, I'd like to be on someone's bus. Would be the next thing I'd like to sneak on. So that's the goal. Well, Jay-Z's bus.
I bet you it could happen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, are you team Kylie Jenner or team Jordan Woods?
Kylie. was the easy one. I love Kylie. She's so hot. But I'd take Jordan Woods if I had to. I'm on either which team will take me.
Oh man. Are you going to this is a good one, and I'm very interested in this answer. Are you going to try to sleep with Joshua Jackson's wife?
No, I can't. I don't know if my girlfriend will give me a pass on that, but as for those of you that don't know, Josh Jackson had sex with my girlfriend at one point in life, so it would be payback. But he dates or he's married to some, I think, supermodel.
I think they're getting divorced. I think actually.
Oh, really? I don't know. But yeah. If Shire would give me a pass, my girlfriend would say it's okay. I would. But I don't. The way the girlfriend that had sex with Josh Jackson said he had a huge dick. So if his wife does have sex with me, she's gonna be super disappointed.
I forgot what podcast you were on. I was listening to the story, but then you said something about it was extra unfair because
because he said he had a puppy in his room.
And I was like, dude, that's messed up. You're on Joshua Jackson, dude.
Yeah, he was like, hey, come back. He's like, come back to my room. I have a puppy. I was like, dude, you're in Laramie, Wyoming. You could have just said, come back to my room. I'm fucking Josh Jackson. I'm a millionaire on TV. But he had to really use the puppy to make sure he had sex with my girlfriend and her best friend. So
that means he has no game.
Yeah, well, he's a closer. He figured it out. So God bless you, Josh Jackson.
Well, I mean, ducks fly together. So. All right, so that was the end of those questions from
Utah.
No, we have one more from Utah, but from that gentleman that I can't pronounce his name.
Oh, from Rick.
All right, yeah. And then we have one from @00negative. Fry sauce. Is it just for fries?
Is fry sauce just for fries?
Yeah.
Nah, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. Get crazy, right?
I hate rules, so I'll never say anything's just for anything.
You're like rule breaker, yeah. Notorious rule breaker.
Yeah, I mean, I'll never say that. I want to look this up now.
What are you looking up?
I'm trying to figure out how to say Rick's last name. It's Rick Dykusen. He's my buddy in Salt Lake, and you know what's great is he snuck into my show with a laminate. One time he came and he was like,
"That's awesome."
I think he was worried I'd be mad. I was like, "Fuck no, that's awesome." First of all, my tickets are usually free because they're trying to just get people in, but he made a laminate and came and yeah, I can never. He knows I love him, and he has an awesome wife, and his son is awesome too. He makes Salt Lake City better anytime I'm there. But I'm with you. I can't say his last name for shit.
I was like, I'm gonna butcher it. So
no, that's all right. He knows. He's been stuck with that last name his whole life.
All right,
where are we on to? Utah?
No, we just finished Utah. You got any guesses on what next one is?
What is it? Vermont?
You're correct.
I think it slipped out because I don't think I'd have got that.
Okay. Well, this one says, which of your personality traits has been most useful to you?
Ooh. Well, the humor has helped a lot as a kid, but now it's listening. I'm a really good listener. If I could give people advice, listen. It's just so important. And the listening helps my humor because, nothing better than like a callback joke. So if someone says something to me and then I can call back, if I remember, it really, like when I was single, if a girl told me about her cat on like the second date and then 3 days later, I slipped that cat name in a text, it would fucking blow their mind. Like, oh my God, he remembered Richie or whatever. So
he listened.
I think listening, and that's just like, if you're trying to get laid or impress somebody or make new friends, to me, listening is so important. Just, people love to talk. It's just good to listen. Then you'll get your chance to talk. I just see so many people try to sell themselves, like people always like some people don't care about celebrities. I think they're cool, but how I become friends with celebrities is when I meet them, say, hey, I'm a big fan, that I just listen to them, let them talk. Whereas so many times I see it in a green room or something. They're like, hey, Tom, I did this, or I'm like, and they try to convince the celebrity why they're cool instead of just being cool.
I was gonna say it's like the almost the don't care.
Yeah,
it's like if you act like you don't care or you belong there, then
yeah. You want to care, but you want to listen to what they're saying, but you just don't. But I would say listening is list. I mean, my humor has helped me, but listening, listen is how I find jokes, how I get laid, how I make friends. So I would say being a good listener is something. When I have kids, I'll say, hey, trust me, learn acoustic guitar and listen, you'll be all right.
I mean,
You'll get laid all of high school.
Acoustic guitar helps. So that was a Vermont question. We are on
Vermont.
to
Good question.
My home away from home, Virginia.
Virginia.
All right. So from my man at Brent J. Powell. He actually was he did my podcast, and he was actually stationed for 4 years in Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah. So he was
I love Cheyenne, but if you're not from there, it's a little different. But I'm glad he survived it.
He said it was windy.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
He asked, "When are you coming to Virginia?"
Hopefully soon. You know, I like Virginia. I've had some good times in Virginia. I'm ready to go anywhere, so we'll see. But when this blows, if we ever get back to regular life, I'd love to come to Virginia. Virginia in the summer was awesome, man. I had some really fun times out there as a kid with my stepdad's family. So I have nothing but good memories of Virginia, and I'll be out there soon, hopefully.
Virginia's pretty cool. It has some cool stuff.
Yeah.
All right, and then we have one more from Virginia at CLead914 on Twitter says, "What's the point of porno magazines now?"
That, you know, what's funny is my grandfather had Playboy subscription, so he'd get them every week, and they would be out in the garage, and then they had it. My grandparents had a fridge in the garage, so when they wanted a Diet Coke, they'd send me out there to get a Diet Coke, and then I'd peek in a Playboy and look at like a bush real quick and get a Diet Coke. Was like a big deal for me. But then I remember when I got older, my grandma was like, your grandfather only gets Playboy for the articles. And I was like, that's the dumbest shit. But then I became an adult, and I really do just get Playboy for the articles. If I love Playboy. They do the 20 questions, which is a lot like my 31, which is good. I like the mailbag, and if they did a big piece on somebody, it was good, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I had a Playboy, I probably would never even open the centerfold because I have my phone. And like, I like my porn with sound. I need sound. I'm a sound guy.
Yeah.
So for me, a porno magazine does nothing but have great articles. But when I was a kid,
I was gonna say Playboys are almost like, now thinking about it in just that way that you were just saying, Playboys are almost like the original like alternative media, like podcasts are radio, because the articles actually were like you'd see a celebrity like loosen up a little bit.
Yeah, when I lived in Vegas, they used to do, Court McCown ran this Playboy comedy show, which was awesome. So they'd have a different playmate come and kind of do a Q&A, and then I get to be on the shows.
Oh, cool.
So I'd be in the green room with these smoking hot girls, and then they'd be opening up their centerfold, just autographing them in the green room. And then that was like weird to look at, like as they're signing their tits, you're just like looking at them. But it was fun to be around it. But when I was a kid, so we lived like a little outside of town, and then there was like a shitty play, like a penthouse or something. Like it blew against this barbed wire fence, and it was probably about 1.5 miles from my house. And I'd walk over, you know, when I got to be like 13, I'd walk over and I'd look at it. Or maybe I was like 11, and I'd walk over and I'd look at it, but I'd never touch it. Like I felt like if I got my fingerprints or something on it. So this poor thing got beat up by the rain and the weather and the wind, and then I'd just walk over and peek, you know, look at these titties on a piece of barbed wire in the middle of this field. It was a big day though. But yeah, now it's weird. Now sometimes when I'm in the airport, I'll look at the Playboy, I'll see who the interview is or something, and then I want to read it, but then I'm like, I can't read a Playboy on the plane. So Playboy's a way, you know, if I get one, I'll take it home and I'll read it, but it has to just be coming to my house, which is, again, my girl, no one will ever believe it's just for the articles, but I promise you, I mean, a naked, if there's no sound, does nothing for me.
Well, I mean, fair enough.
I mean, it does a little something for me, but not enough to matter.
I mean, that's definitely, that's a deeper answer than I thought we were going to get.
Yeah.
So.
I'm a deep dude, bro.
So next up, we have Washington. And we have a gentleman named Matthew Gaines.
Matthew.
And he wants to know, were you the bad kid in school? Because usually the bad kids turn out to be the funny guys.
No, I was good. I was a really good kid. I never got in trouble. You know, I was I guess I get in trouble a little bit for talking, making jokes, but I was a good kid, man. And I was so into sports that I just never want to get in trouble because I didn't want to miss practice or miss a game. So I didn't get. I was really good. I would just say if I got in trouble, it would just be for being a smart ass or talking too much in class. So like that kind of bad. But I don't remember ever really getting grounded, or I just loved being outside and playing sports and stuff. So I just was always good. And then when I got to high school, when I was a sophomore, one of the seniors, this kid named Andy Panel, who was just like the coolest dude, he kind of took me under his wing, and he didn't drink or do drugs, and he'd never got in trouble. So, and I just wanted to be like him. So he set a really good example. So I didn't want to disappoint my parents. I didn't want to disappoint Andy. I didn't want to disappoint my coaches or teammates. So honestly, I was a good kid until like the day I graduated. Then all hell broke loose. Then I said, "Fuck it, I got it."
Your officer helped.
Yeah. Then the heredity. My father came out of me like. But no, I was good till I was like literally till like right after I graduated high school. Then I all hell broke loose.
That's wild. See, I always wonder the same like about myself because I've never done drugs. I didn't drink till like used that like right basically at the end of high school, early college. And I think it was because my dad told me all these stories about the times he did drugs, and my dad was in the military, but like he had like some crazy like. I remember he told me the story about like being in San Diego because I guess like that's where he did basic training and he was stationed there for a little bit. And somebody slipped some like acid into like his hamburger on Halloween, and they were going to a Billy Joel concert. And I guess like he ended up getting out of the car because he realized he was seeing all the kids around trick or treat or something like that, and just like ran for like miles, and then realized he had like a Billy Joel ticket in his pocket. And then he got in a taxi, got to the concert, found his friends, and then it's not the Philly Fanatic. What's the San Diego?
San Diego Chicken.
I guess was at the concert and like put his head in his beak, like that was his routine.
Yeah.
My dad's head, and my dad fought the San Diego Chicken and got kicked out.
Oh, yeah, that's why you don't do drugs.
Yeah. And I'm actually named after a Billy Joel song. My name is Anthony. First song on The Stranger is Anthony's song, Moving Out.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
It's a great song. I saw Billy Joel last year at Coors Field. He was great, but just an awful place to watch it. Baseball stadiums are awful place to watch a concert.
I thought about going, and I was like, it's going to be...
We had pretty good seats. So he played in center field. We were right around second base. It was still shitty. But all I could imagine was all the people, like, in the stands. I was like, we could barely see him from where he was. Like I said, he was about dead center field. Well, the back part of center field warning track. We were at second base. I could still barely see him on stage.
Yeah.
All those people in seats that paid like, I was like, oh, you guys got ripped off.
That's funny. One of my wife's favorite Garth Brooks songs is written by Billy Joel.
Really? Which one?
Shameless.
He wrote that?
Yeah, Billy Joel wrote that.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Billy Joel, incredibly talented.
So
I'm a fan.
I love Billy Joel. It's great. So we are on West Virginia now.
West Virginia. I made a lot of West Virginia friends, ironically, in Vegas. Talk about dudes that know how to party and drink. Holy shit.
Well, yeah, they're used to drinking like moonshine, probably.
Yeah, you know who they brought to my house was Pac-Man Jones one time.
For real?
That crazy story. After he got in all that club, the time he was at my house, the night that he got in trouble at the strip club, so my boss's nephew went to West Virginia and knew Pac a little bit, and then we were gambling, so we were gambling high, so we had all the money, and then Pac I think won a bunch of money, but he didn't want to take the chips to the cage.
Yeah,
so we're trying to get my boy to do that because he didn't want it on like taxes and then all. And my buddy, he had one of Pac-Man shirts for a long time. We had weird clothes at our house. We had a Pac-Man Jones shirt. One of my roommates was fucking Larry Johnson, the running back from Penn State that was like on the Chiefs.
For real?
So he left a bunch of his shit at our house, and we'd wear it, but the shit was huge. Because back then you'd wear baggy, big shit.
Oh yeah.
So those guys were. I had these pair of Jordan shorts that were Larry Johnson's that looked more like sweatpants, but. But no, I got love for my West Virginia people, man. They remind me a lot of Wyoming. We would just party, and they were cool, man. They were chill, and they were fun, man.
That's wild. I've heard some crazy Pac-Man stories. Obviously, I'm a huge podcast fan. And
Yeah.
Pat McAfee went to West Virginia, so he's got some Pac
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah, they had some good Pac stories for sure.
For sure, yeah. So we'll get to the West Virginia question. You're a mad scientist. I don't have corona. You're a mad scientist. What scientific experiment would you run if money and ethics weren't an issue?
That's a big one. With ethics aren't an issue. A scientific experiment, man.
The endless amount of money, no morals. You can run any experiment you want.
Well, it would just be some mind control shit where I could just control what everybody did. Like, I would just make my life like it would be like that Sims game. Isn't it a Sims game where you control the people or something? I never played it, but yeah, I would. It would be bad, but I'd fuck with controlling people like robots and just. I guess I don't know if I'd enjoy my life, but I would make life into just like a simulation game that I controlled, which is probably a bad idea.
I mean, I think that works out perfectly for you. You just make everybody come. You'd sell out every arena.
Yeah. But if money didn't matter, that means I'm probably already rich. But yeah, but then I could control everything. Like if I bet a basketball game or something, I need a guy to miss. I don't know if I'd get bored with it if it would take out all the controlling everything and then having all the money. I guess if you control everything, you don't even need the money.
Yeah, because you could just control everything.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I just control.
You can control
I can control everything. I don't know. Yeah. That seems like fun, but it would get. That's probably what like Justin Timberlake's life's like. You just control everyone around you. I don't know if it'd be miserable or fun, but it'd probably be fun for a while. But I bet you'd get bored.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it'd be like playing what? It'd be playing a video game on easy, right? Like
yeah.
Be like,
but that gets boring. So I don't know if I would. I like the challenge of stuff, so that'd probably be a bad. I think I would do it, and then I'd be like, "Oh, this sucks."
That seems like it would be a good like romantic comedy to write. Like, dude controls everything, but then he has like the one girl that he'll never control because he wants to know her true feelings, but she doesn't actually like him.
That's exactly. So then he controls her, but then deep down he goes, "I don't know if she'd actually like." Then, yeah, I'd probably fight those demons of like, I'd get Carmen Electra to like me, but then deep down I could convince everybody else what I wanted, but I couldn't convince myself. So maybe I would hate that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Good question.
Good question. Well, we are on to Wisconsin.
I went there for the first time last year to Green Bay, to Lambeau. Pretty cool.
It's interesting you say that because the person asking this question is a huge Packers fan.
Oh.
I know this because I've been in many fights because I believe Matt Stafford's better than Aaron Rodgers. But
that's a tough one.
We'll see. So it's from my boy Tanner at Vanilla Gorilla, the host
of
the Anomalies podcast.
Yes.
And he asks, if you had to eat one vegetable for the rest of your life and nothing else, which one would it be and why?
I hate vegetables too. It's funny he asked that.
Well,
I don't know if I'll eat one Tanner, I don't know if I'll eat one vegetable total the rest of my life if it was up to me, but
Tanner does a lot of farm stuff. He works in the farm industry, so
I'd probably say, you know what? I like is Brussels sprouts. That's a vegetable, right?
I believe so.
Can I cook them how I want?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I didn't like Brussels sprouts until my girlfriend started getting Brussels sprouts, and we eat at this Russian restaurant here, and they do these lamb lollipops, and then and there's Brussels sprouts.
Oh wow.
And my girlfriend, she got an air fryer. She cooks these Brussels sprouts. They're amazing. So I would have used to say corn because I really like corn on the cob and stuff. But now Brussels sprouts. But other than that, I hate vegetables. My girlfriend tries to make me eat them all. She hides them in stuff.
Is there anything more different than corn? I hate corn, but I love corn on the cob.
Really? Yeah. See, I love all. So why I hate vegetables when I was a kid, my parents wouldn't let me get up from the table.
Oh, until you ate
until I ate my vegetables. But we're eating like shit like peas out of a can, which is gross like when it's done right. Yeah. But then when I just let it sit there, they get all mushy and shit. Oh. So I'd have to eat like broccoli and lime. But we were poor, so I think my mom got the shitty vegetables because she thought kids were supposed to have vegetables. So like I can't eat peas. I like green beans, all right, but then I became an adult. I eat whatever I want. And then, you know, my girlfriend's like, you have to eat vegetables. I was like, I don't. I can do whatever I want. I can eat Reese's Pieces if I want to with my steak. So
Well,
now that my
goes-
body's falling apart, I'm trying to do better. But
I was gonna say, that goes back to that's the wrong way to go about it, Shire. You can't tell him you can't.
yeah,
Do something.
exactly. If you tell me not to do something, then that I have to do it. So that's just part of the douche in me. But yeah, that's an interesting question because I don't like vegetables. But I really, these Brussels sprouts out of an air fryer, they're crunchy and crispy, and then she makes them in the sauce.
I was gonna say I had some when I did keto the first time. I did Brussels. I eat Brussels sprouts cooked in bacon.
Yeah. So they do those at the Four Seasons. Four Seasons. I mean, Four Seasons is Four Seasons, so obviously they're good. But they also we go back and forth between Four Seasons and this Russian place. I don't know which one's better, but man, it's so good.
Brussels sprouts are legit. See,
yep.
Brussels sprouts.
I'm on board. Tanner, you got it. Make me some Brussels sprouts in Wisconsin.
All right, so we're gonna finish up the states here.
Okay.
Do you have any guess which one it is?
I bet it's my favorite. We'll save the best for last, obviously.
I didn't realize it was the last alphabetical state until I put them in alphabetical order either.
It's the last for a lot of things, but I love it the most.
So, from Amanda Fredrickson in Wyoming, if you're playing along at home and you didn't understand what we were talking about, she asked, "What is the most memorable date that you and Shire have been on?"
The most memorable date. Shire is my wonderful girlfriend, and the most memorable date is the first one for sure. Because she came to a show. I was headlining. She came to a show. She had on these big black boots. I'll never forget, like up to her knee, which I love. And she sat right in the front row with her best friend Emily, and she looked beautiful. And which is a no. I don't want anyone I know in the front row. So that was weird. She called me on it because I just looked over the top of her head. Though you never I hate having people in the front row because then she feels like she's got to laugh. It's a fake laugh, but whatever. And then after the show, we were hanging out at the bar. And of course, the staff, I love Comedy Works staff, but they're busting my balls. The waiter told her I had herpes. The bartender told her I had I loved anal sex, which is not true at all. So everyone's having a good time laughing. We're having a few too many drinks. I guess we didn't realize how much we drank. So we're going downtown, and I didn't think she was that drunk, and she didn't think she was that drunk. And I guess she really wasn't that drunk, but we got to the parking lot. No one else is in the parking lot. There's a pole right next to our car. She drives right into this pole. Boom. I mean, my head almost goes through the windshield. I feel like I have a concussion. We run right into a pole. Bam. So I try to get out of the car to check on the car. I can't. I'm jammed up against this concrete pole. The door won't even open. She gets out. She walks around. She sees it. We're stuck kind of up on the concrete. I'm like, what are we going to do? She gets back in the car. She's like trying to rock it back and forth, revving the engine. Now all the Comedy Works staff's coming out. I'm like, oh God, I'm never going to hear the end of this. She gets it off the pole. I'm like, are you all right? What? She's like, yeah, we're not going to let that ruin a good night. I was like, all right. We drove right downtown I lived in this incredible loft at the time. So I lived in this loft right across the street from Coors Field, $1 million loft. Incredible. Story for another time. My buddy let me live there for free. The coolest 2 years of my life. But above me, there was these shitty roommates. These awful rappers. They rap all the time. The day of our first date, right above my bedroom, and I was on the second floor. They were on the third floor of these lofts. These fat fucks, they sat on the toilet, broke the toilet. The toilet broke. All the piss and shit landed on my bed. On my bed, just covered in piss and shit. Bed ruined. So then she came back to my place, and we had to stay in the guest bedroom bed. And then in the morning, she couldn't find her phone. I was like, Jesus, what the fuck? Because when we got downtown, we were by the house, and we just got hammered.
Yeah.
And then we woke up in the morning, and she couldn't find her phone. And I was like, this girl's a fucking mess. And then we went to the car, and luckily her phone was buried under the seat. And then, so yeah, that was the first night was a good one. And then after that, she bought me tickets to Hawaii for Christmas. So we spent Valentine's Day. That really wasn't that good a date because my gout flared up, but I don't know. We've had a lot of good dates, but that first one will always be probably the best one because it was just so crazy. So
I was gonna say if people listen to the 31 podcast, you're already in the area, in the
Yeah.
ballpark. Make sure they listen to Dead to Us, which has Shire on it.
Yeah.
You guys, I think you told that story on there, and maybe I'm making this up, but was there not also a part about underneath your apartment is the Baseball Hall of Fame?
Oh yeah, so yeah, the Baseball Hall of Fame was underneath my apartment. All the piss and shit went through my bed. That's how much piss and shit there was onto the Baseball Hall of Fame that's located under my house. And then they came up, and then they knock on the door. They're like, "Hey, there's shit going all over the Baseball Hall of Fame." I go, "It's not me. It's the people upstairs." And then everybody, those rappers got kicked out. They were shitty rappers anyway. It was a wild, yeah. There's way more to the story, but it was a wild first date. But then, she saw my comedy and laughed, and she came to my house and saw my bed covered in piss and shit, and then we've been together ever since.
That's the true beginnings of a love story.
Yeah, so it was I need to take her on more dates because most of the time we just go to comedy shows and shit. So
I mean, comedy shows are most people's date. That's kind of weird that you kind of work in the field where most people would go on a date.
Yeah. Well, yeah, when I was dating, it was weird because girls would always, they're like, "What do you want to do?" I was like, "I got a show." So I'd always have them come to a show. But then they'd always be like, "Oh, I was worried that you would suck." I was like, "If I sucked, I wouldn't bring you here." This was like, this is my closer,
You're like, "This is nuts." So
I knew what I was doing. I brought you here so I could crush, and you could see everybody laugh, and you could be like, "That's my guy on stage." It's the closest I can get to be a rock star. So
that makes sense. All right. Well, that was a great answer for that.
We did it 50 for 50.
No, we got 2 more from Wyoming.
We do. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, Wyoming, you get some more.
Yeah, I figured we'd stack it.
Yeah.
At Madge Midgley.
Yes.
I don't know if you know that.
She's great.
What is a secret about you that you have never told anyone?
Ooh, a secret about me I've never told. I'm pretty open, man. I'm really, as you can tell, if you've been watching this, I've told some shit I've never told before, honestly. A secret about me I've never told anyone is, man. I'm just trying to think of it. This is hard because I really try to tell everything. I mean, if any of you guys know me, I'll tell anything and everything.
I mean, just for reference, while you're thinking, I'll give you some time to think. In the first part of this episode, you talked about how you almost potentially became a burglar.
Yeah, that's what came to my head. Is if you watched it when I was thinking about robbing houses, and I don't think I ever told that story until I told on here. So that's probably a secret that I was like really thinking about, just fucking becoming the best burglar in the world. So that other than that, like, I just really don't keep secrets because it's so hard to. I try not to because then everybody around you has to. I mean, I guess I've done shitty shit in the past, but no one will benefit from me telling those stories. But I wasn't always the best boyfriend, so I get. But I mean, I've been cheated on too, so I don't know. There's nothing that it would just be trivial bullshit. So yeah, I think I told everything. I would say trying to rob people's houses is a pretty big secret I never told. So
that was a pretty big one.
A good question though. It's hard to know. It's hard to answer that just because I always try to be vulnerable and tell the truth.
That's the best way to live though. If you're open.
Yeah, I like it because I have so many friends in my life that they have so many lies, and then every time they got a new girlfriend and shit, I got to be like, "Oh, I can't say this story. I can't talk about this. I can't." I like to tell stories and have fun. So people like that keep everything secret. Then I can't. Then we're walking on eggshells. I don't want anyone to walk around eggshells around me and just let it fly. I was
gonna say you're walking around like with your friend's new girlfriend, like with like the Peyton Manning like wristband, like figuring out.
Yeah. Okay. Let me. What am I allowed to talk to about? So
like audibles.
I'd rather just tell everything, and that's what I learned too. Because well, for instance, when I was dating a girl in Vegas, like on the third date, as she was like, "Have you ever got a hooker?" And I said no, of course, because you don't want a girl that you're trying to impress to know you got a hooker. But then I had to ride that lie out the rest of my life, and she eventually didn't believe it. Then my friends have to lie. I should have just told her, now with Shire, I just tell the truth if she asks. She's smart enough not to ask after asking a few things.
Yeah.
She's like, that's another thing. Just don't ask. It's better not to know, I think. But yeah, I learned that lesson. After that, I was like, I not have to lie to this girl the rest of my life. I should have just told her, yeah, I got a hooker before. Like, well, I mean, when I was early 20s, shit happens.
Exactly, right? You got to do everything once at least.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got one more from Wyoming.
All right.
From Jagger Slayer, at Jagger Slayer on Twitter. Have you ever taken your jackalope snipe hunting?
No. That's a dumb inside Wyoming joke about jackalopes, but no, I have I'm not a hunter. I'm scared of guns. So I've been robbed at gunpoint with a shotgun about this far from my nose, and I watched a guy get shot and killed in LA. So I'm terrified of guns, and I won't be hunting anything, and I haven't seen any jackalopes lately, but I'll let you know.
So that is all 50 states.
That's America. We did it.
Since we're overachievers though. So
oh yes.
We're gonna go with the 51st state, Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, okay.
Shout out Shire.
Shout out to Shire, who has a Florida education and thinks there's 52 states.
Puerto Rico is one of those, right?
Yeah, I think Guam and Puerto Rico is what she thought.
All right, so from Puerto Rico, we got Tyler Smith.
Oh, my boy Tyler.
And he wants to know, are you scared to fly, hate islands, or just don't know where Puerto Rico is located? And what would it take for you to do a comedy show on his island?
I don't know. Is there rules in Puerto Rico? I'm not scared to fly, that's for sure. And I love Costa Rica. I love Costa Rica, which I'm sure is a lot like Puerto Rico. So no, Tyler, you got plenty of money. Let's make this happen. No, Tyler's my Wyoming boy, man. I've known him forever. He's down there crushing it. Well, I don't know. Hopefully, like I answered earlier questions, hopefully I can go anywhere at some point. I would love, but I'd love to go to Puerto Rico. And you ever been to Puerto Rico?
No, I've been to Guam, I believe, when I was way.
Really?
I don't remember any of it, but.
Well, hopefully it happens. Shire's always begging to go to a beach. I love Costa Rica. So I assume it's similar.
Probably pretty close.
If I get in trouble, I'll be down there. If I'm on the run, I'm coming to Puerto Rico.
Also, Tyler Smith, tell all your friends, and then we just get demand.
Yeah. If you can put together a show,
Brandt Tobler brand.
I've gone to worse places, so I will definitely come to Puerto Rico.
Shout out to Rollins.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then we have two more, and I don't know. I'm gonna do them out of order because I'm not sure if it's actual or if it's the Canadian version. But we have London.
London.
Scott Sandry asked, "London, is it even a state?"
Is London even a state? No, London's a fog. That's all I know. I don't even think I'm trying to think if I've been to London.
I was supposed to go in about 3 weeks.
Oh, you were? What happened?
Coronavirus.
Wait, what were you going for?
My wife's a huge Cubs fan, and we got tickets to go see the Cubs play the Cardinals.
Oh.
And I think it was London Stadium or Wembley, wherever they were playing.
Damn.
And obviously that got canceled.
Damn you, coronavirus. Oh, that sucks, man.
I got a passport because of it, though. I haven't had a passport since I was like 5.
Oh, well, that's good. So, you're ready to go at any moment.
So now we can just go. Now
we can go to Puerto Rico.
I don't think you need a passport for Puerto Rico.
We'll go to Puerto Rico soon. Don't you worry. But yeah, I don't think London's a state. I don't know shit about. I don't know what that question.
All right. So now we got one more.
Last question. Oh, boy.
From Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Ooh, I've always wanted to go to Toronto. What's up, Drake?
From Evan Budd. Evan Budd.
What's up, Evan? That's my boy.
He says, "What's the best show you ever remember killing it at? Ever turn a hostile crowd or all the way around?" To your
Ooh, yeah. I mean, there's plenty of times in Vegas where you had to flip a crowd. I was just starting in Vegas is like, you do so much what we call combat comedy where you just show up and they don't know there's going to be a show. That's like the worst, like in a bar or a restaurant or something. And then people are just eating their dinner, doing whatever they want. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, comedy show in 2 minutes. And they're like, what? We're eating dinner. We didn't even, what is this? So, stuff like that. There's times when I've gone too far and then I brought them back. I try not to do that anymore. It's harder and harder to do that just because you don't want these fucking bad Yelp reviews. But yeah, so I mean, it happened. It's part of the. There's plenty of times I brought him back, and then there's plenty of times when I was like, walked right off stage and right to my car, like fuck all these people. I hope they never come back to comedy ever again. So yeah, that there's not one in particular. Like, I mean, it happened so much. Just starting out in Vegas just made it made me invincible. I think because we just went through so many shitty shows. So. And then wait, what was his other question? Have I ever killed?
What's the best show you ever remember killing it at?
Oh man. The first time I really killed was in Tucson, Arizona. I had a guest spot at a club called Laughs. And so it was a hot room, like Friday night late show was packed. I was only doing like 6 or 7 minutes, and I had like my best 6 or 7 that I've been working on for like a year. I really should have been moving on to other shit, but I just remember crushing so hard. And I walked off stage, and my girlfriend at the time was waiting, and she just gave me a hug and looked at me, and I was like, we're going to be fucking so famous. And that was probably like 11 years ago, and I'm not even close to famous at all. But in that moment, that was the first time when I really felt like, holy moly, I'm getting good at it. But, I don't know if I talked about it on this episode, but it's crazy. That's how comedy works. Anytime I really crush and start to feel myself, the very next show, I just eat it. The comedy gods are just like, the comedy gods will not let you like feel yourself. And, they're just like, oh, you think you're dope? Watch this. So that was the first time that comes to my head when I was like, oh man. And then there's a couple times in Vegas. I started out at LA Comedy Club, and there was a couple nights when, the room was just like, when you walk off stage and you go, okay, I'm getting better at this. This is what I'm supposed to do. And, now I'm fortunate enough to work at Comedy Works here in Denver, which is one of the best clubs in the world. And we have really good comedy fans here. So I have really good sets here a lot just because the room kind of, if you don't do good here, I would say you should quit. So there's been times here when it's like, when you walk off stage, you're like, wow, that you could feel like goosebumps on your arm. So, but the first time I'd have to say that Tucson time when I remember just looking at my girlfriend and going, I'm going to be so fucking famous.
Yeah. Well,
which never happened, but she's long gone by now. I think she gave up on that dream.
Isn't that the thing? What do they call that? Like a magic set or something like that? Like people have had that happen, right? Where like they just like they go and they just have like this thing, and then it
oh yeah, it just all clicks sometimes. I mean, it happens it'll happen more. I mean, the bigger, eventually you get your fans, and then you can't do anything wrong. But those first couple times when they're not your fans, like, because now, like, so if you're watching, you're like, well, how come all these guys crush? Because that's their fans. When people are coming to see you, that's just a whole nother level. Then you crush every single time because you can't do no wrong. Because if they're podcast fans or something, you can do like my buddy Shuli, who's on the Howard Stern show. He was the first comedian I really looked up to in Vegas, way before he even got on the Howard Stern show. But now when he does a show, all the Stern fans come out and he can just go Baba Booey and they'll just fucking go crazy. It's like, it's crazy.
Does that make it does that make it tougher for you as a comedian, where like to grow, or do you have to have like that self-discipline? Because you can just sit in that pocket, I would assume.
Oh yeah, you can. But no, you still want to grow, but it's a great fucking pinch hitter if you ever need it to be like,
oh, for sure.
I can't imagine but then sometimes the counterpoint is then people only want to hear about the Stern show. So if Shuli is trying to grow and do jokes about his daughter, they're yelling Baba Booey, and he's like, fuck, I'll get to Baba Booey. So yeah, there is but what's funny? I just realized, you want to know when I killed the most? This hat reminded me. So last year during the playoffs, the Nuggets hired me to be like their like hype guy outside. When you're going into the playoff games, they had a DJ, and I was the guy that would come out and get the crowd hyped up as they were going in. Okay. And that's when I realized my comedy ain't shit, because I've never had an ovation of a guy with a fucking free t-shirt in his hand. That's killing. That is killing. I'd come out and I'd be like, hey, Nuggets fans, where you guys at? And they would look at me like, who's this idiot? Then I'd be like, I got a free shirt. And they'd be like, oh, yeah. And then they don't know what size it is. They don't know what's on it. They forget it's going to fade after one wash, shrink after 2 washes, but it's just in my hand in a rubber band, and those people, and I could just hold it up just with power, and they would go crazy. So the most I ever killed was just when I was able to throw free T-shirts and hats and shit out, and then they'd give me like a big thing, like a basketball autographed by the team or a autographed jersey, and those are the times I never heard a roar. Well, one other time I heard a roar like that was, and that's when I realized the first time I was around. Well, I mean, I was around famous people, but the first time I saw what fame will do at stand-up is I was doing shows at the Tempe Improv in Phoenix, Arizona. Legendary room, beautiful room, balcony. I mean, sold out, probably 600 people. And I was crushing it. And I was like feeling myself on stage, you know, and because real comics, only because you asked me this, I'm telling you a story, but you never be like, oh, I was killing it. But honestly, I was doing really good. I remember closing my set after 20 minutes being like, damn, I'm getting pretty good at this shit. And then I was opening for Steve-O. And Steve-O, so when I'm doing good, they're like, yeah, and I'd hear these big laughs. And then I'm walking out of the green room, the backstage green room, and they call him out on stage. And they'd be like, Steve-O, and you hear this roar, and then he'd walk out, and then he would just grab the mic and be like, hey, dude. And then this fucking roar, which was 10 times louder than any laugh, my biggest punchline, him just going, hey, dude. And they would, and I was like, that is what fame's like. So that I've never killed like that, but even that time, it like I said, it's always humbling because even that I was really feeling like I was good. And then he just said, hey, dude. And they were like, this is what a fucking ovation stands like. So,
well, I was say, what's the closest thing comedy wise to, or I guess, what's the closest thing to comedy, like in that, as far as like the coming up, like, cause like I always like try to find a good analogy for comedy since we like became friends and you like explained, you know, sort of like, you know, there's no employee of the month, there's no, you know,
all this
stuff. I'm like, is a close, I guess I know you're a sports fan, but like Major League Baseball, like, right? So there's the minor league system, right? Like, but you can go from like A to like AAA or like straight up. People have like different paths, obviously. But like, is it like the slow and steady? Like most people take the slow and steady route. They take from AA to AAA to AAA, and then
well, that's what I mean, you have to do that anyway. But sometimes people, you just get it at bats. Yeah. You know, like if you're in AAA, sometimes they call you up. And then sometimes you're like, oh shit, I'm up here. I got at bats. And then they go, oh, you weren't ready for this. They bring you back down. Now, occasionally there's just like a superstar that just does a little AAA, AA, and then gone. You know, I mean, that happens. And the internet can help you do that now. But no, for most comics will say it takes you 10 years to get funny. And, you know, a lot of it's just hanging around. And I think that baseball analogy, you're just trying to get to the major leagues. And, you know, we've all had like a cup of coffee. Then once you get there, you're just trying to stay there. Because if you make it to the major leagues, you'll be rich.
Yeah. Well, I thought about that analogy came because I obviously played baseball in college and baseball is my sport. But like you were saying, I think it was on another podcast we were both on. You were explaining to somebody who was wanting to start, our boy Marco. He was talking about how he was going to do stand-up. I still don't know if he's done stand-up, to be honest with you. But you were saying, like, you should do it because it's like, then you have that bond. You can say, hey, like, I've done it. And that's almost kind of like baseball players, right? From single A all the way up to major. You can be like, hey, I played this. And you have that weird bond of like, you know, like I
say all the time after a show, if you come up to me and say, hey, good job, I'll say thanks. You know, we'll do small talk, have a drink or whatever. But then if you go, hey, I'm a comedian, then I'm like, oh, well, go over here to this way. Because I'll hang out with you, you know, and that doesn't matter what level you're on. If you just have done it, then we can talk about it. And that's why I've been so fortunate to have so many amazing moments with my heroes, because they know the moment, whatever moment I'm at, they were at one point. So they, you know, like these guys, Dave Attell, Brian Regan, Dave Chappelle, these guys, they'll spend hours with you. They just want to talk comedy and hang out and just, you know, and you'll hear Chris Rock and these guys say, I'm at the Oscars or I'm at some awards thing and I just am drawn to the other comedian in the room. I see another comedian. I'm just like, get rid of these CEOs and fucking all these stupid people. I got to be around the other comic. And that's why we love it. It's just the connection. I mean, that's the best part, is just being around other comics and some of the best dudes and girls I've ever met. And even if I have, like I said, like you just said, if I just know they're a comic, there's just this mutual, like, oh, we're in this secret little world. And that's what makes it special.
I always find it funny. Yeah, I mean, comedy's always fascinated me. Like, I've never really had the itch to like ever do it, like as a thing, because I respect it so much and I enjoy like the process behind it. I think more so than anything, it's like music. I played music. I toured for a little bit, but I actually really found that like the nuts and bolts of it, like writing songs and like going through the process, that was like kind of what intrigued me. But I always found it funny listening to podcasts of like other comedians, and I know a couple of us said it on like your podcast too. Is like they're like, I'm flying to a show, and obviously like somebody else, like I see another comedian in the airport I've never met before, but like they are both like, I guess like, I don't know, like a level of where they're like known comedians.
Yeah.
And they're like we have this common bond, and like we can have a conversation, like we're best friends because we're doing the same thing. Like,
yeah, that's the coolest part about it, is just where you're just in this crazy world together. And there's a lot of competition, but then there's also like, I mean, first of all, you shouldn't compete. It's just natural, but everybody's on their own path, which sounds like a magical thing to say or whatever, but it's really true, because you can't worry about what someone else gets, because there's always going to be people that you think you're funnier that get shit. And there's always, it's like, you can't really worry about that. But the connection of like some people, there's a few that suck, but the comedy gods get rid of them anyway.
yeah.
But overall, it's just like, it's just this instant connection of like, oh, we can talk about something no one else in the world can talk about.
Yeah.
We both been at the shitty hotel in Dayton, and we both have walked across the street at the mall in West Virginia, and we both have, sat in the airport in Tacoma, or it's crazy. And that's from Dave Chappelle to Dave Bell, some random dude that just started comedy a month ago. Like that, something that we can all, when I was around Chappelle, we were talking about stuff, like we're just talking about road stuff that he did years ago, the stuff I was doing. And it's just like, which is another thing that's just it's always motivating. Like when you meet your heroes in comedy, they're like, oh, where are you going next week? And they're like, and then you tell them, they're like, oh, I remember I was there. Is so-and-so still there? Or they keep you at this same hotel. And you're like, yeah, we're at that. Oh, that hotel sucks. And you're like, it's always cool, because you're like, oh, these people that I idolize were on this same path at one point. So the comedy bond is it's amazing. And that's a lot of what makes this pandemic so hard. Is the best part of being a comedian is just sitting around busting balls and fucking with each other and making fun of sets. And it's that the camaraderie is it's just the best part.
I was gonna say, I could only imagine it's probably like I wouldn't say it's like family, but like in a weird way, it's like almost like, like somebody you see, even if somebody you maybe like don't interact with like on a daily basis, but you have that like passing, like, hey, how was your day? Like, well,
yeah.
Whatever it is, like not seeing those people for so long, you're like, oh, I didn't realize that person even was like such a big part of my life, because you almost
there's people before this that I thought were annoying that I would give anything to sit and have a beer with right now. People, I was like, fuck, this person's on the show, and now like if I saw him, I'd be like, hey, how are you? I missed you. I miss comedy. I miss my people.
That's so cool. I can't wait for you guys to get back to comedy.
Let's hope it happens one day.
Do we got any recent like projections, anything like?
I have no idea, man. Every time I think no one knows anything is all I know. So we'll see. I mean, I think it's heading towards do it yourself, like which is crazy. With my roots is I started doing those backyard shows, and it might come full circle, because first of all, we just need to make money, and second of all, like I'll just do the shows, and if you don't feel comfortable, then stay home. I'm not telling people. I'm to the point where I followed the rules for this is like 10 weeks, like, but now financially I need to get moving, and just emotionally, I need to have something, need that back in my life. So I'm getting closer and closer, just doing backyard shows, doing warehouse shows, going guerrilla style. And for the people that don't feel comfortable, I respect that. Stay home, and the people that are ready to roll, let's go.
I mean, warehouse show would be pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, no, we go back to the roots, man. Where we just create it. when they don't want us, they didn't want us in the beginning. We just created our shows. That's what stand-up taught us in the beginning. Don't wait for them. Do it yourself. And I think we're back there, just like me and you right now.
Right.
We're just doing it ourselves. Fuck it. Here we are.
Just doing ourselves. We just did a tour of it.
We just did it. I just did a tour of America with you. You were the best opener I've ever had. So thank you.
I would bomb as your opener, but
this was great.
I mean, you'd be like, man, you ruined the room. Like, what? No, but yeah, no, I appreciate you letting me.
Yeah, thanks.
I think I said this last time. I've been on the 31 podcast now.
Yeah.
Before, but also, like, I mean, I was a fan of the show before we even became friends. But I mean, this is like one of my favorite podcasts. So it's like this is an awesome. Awesome thing that
thank you, man.
You let me host and let me ask you more than 31 questions. So
it was your idea. It was great. So, all right. Well, this is it. That's a 2-parter. Me and Tone are going to come up with some other cool shit. Thank you, Tone, for coming up with this. Thank you for doing this. This was awesome. Tell your friends, subscribe, rate, and review. If you're watching this on YouTube, give us a subscribe. We got a bunch of other cool shit coming. If you're listening to the podcast, you know what to do. We love you guys. Thanks again, Tone. And we'll have a bunch more cool shit coming for you. So keep rolling with us.
Definitely.
Bye-bye.
Brandt Tobler trying to expand globally. Long curly hair and a beard, but he ain't Toby Keith. You might have thought it's beef, but we gon' handle that. Stealing jerseys off of the wall like fuck Jack. Okay, he ran with that, and now he's on the loose. Put a little bit of poison in his Jamba Juice. Go ahead and drink on that, just take another sip. Need an appraisal, shout out to Ron Huffin' Dick. The kids loving this, I know you heard it, son. The purpose is perfect, every person we learn something from. Go ahead and come along, we have a little fun. A few questions, how about 31?